Hello, and welcome to SimCity. And I was kind of fooling around with my old 921,120 city, and I found something interesting. It has to do with this zone here and this zone here, but not before doing something else with the GIFs. And I'm going to demonstrate what happens in 3 different takes, and then I will explain why that's important. So let's start off with round 1. Fast forward and see what happens. As you can see, the residentials are falling apart in the 2 donut blocks. And interestingly enough, if we check the map, it's not a pretty sight anymore, which is why these zones are falling apart. And so we kind of knew that would happen. But what if we do that same thing again and we put park inside? And let's see what it does there. By the way, I hope you are all doing well. I'm SpicyDog365. And notice how the one with the amusement park that used to be there is falling apart. And now we just lost the top where the Mario statue was. So if we look at the map now, it's definitely a different shade of green, but I could do one better, and then I will explain what this is all about. Alright, now let's see what happens. Aside from 2 residentials fully developed, giving us a deficit of 1,600 now that they're not there. But aside from that, notice anything happening with the donut blocks? And now we can see that it's just about the same levels of green that you see here and yeah, like right in here. It's all light green, and the next one lower to it. So this here, and the reason for it, so I have the GIFs here in my 921,000 build, right? And in the one that I'm working on currently, I have those two GIFs here, or not the GIFs, but technically the, well, they were moved, but regardless, I have the donut blocks here in the build, as I said before, the current build, which I will show in a moment. And the reason that this is important is, well, there still technically are 28 GIFs in the game. By moving two of them and putting park and police coverage in the nearest parts of the center where the donut blocks lie, like right here and right here, they are okay. That means you technically could almost say that you have 30 GIFs in the game. And that's without using cheats, which I think is pretty cool that this actually works. We don't lose this resident, and that means something. Now don't worry, when I build, I will turn the music on and I will make it so I'm quiet. But the point of why I'm showing that is, if I could take these two GIFs and put them over here and here, and then because of moving what I did have from there down here, and again I will point this out, that these two GIFs get moved over here and here. So when we jump back over here, it would be like this. And if it's like this, then I can build like I did in this one. So I'm thinking that a third build is necessary, but I probably will not start till the first day of winter. We need to still finish up what I'm working on currently, and then take kind of a hybrid, or just basically put both cities in the blender per se, and that would give me a definite population in the next 10,000th place for sure. Now, I'm not hinting that we can't make it in the other one, but I think it's safe to say that we'll have a new personal best, which I will be proud of, but I hope that we can learn from it. And I've had this thought since Monday. after kind of tweaking and doing some things. And I just couldn't suppress the feeling anymore. But another thing to keep in mind is this being the center, or a little off of the center of the city, and this one being definitely in the center. When you stop to think about that, if the way you build on the top most row with zones, the reason it works is because this one, for an industry, is on the part that is not doing any of the calculations, and this resident's not affected by this industry because it's further away and protected by the park zone, or the park, which is not a zone, but I guess you could assign each one as its own individual non-populative piece, if you will. And then this one is just perfect because there are no industry to cause fluctuation in these zones. But one thing to point out, and the reason you can't do this amusement park, is because of this industry. And even if you get rid of it and put in police, it doesn't work. I've tested it. I mean, I guess I could demonstrate it. Why not? And in fact, why not do it with all of what we've already talked about? And what I plan on doing is, if I can just move these two down into here and here, I can make for better things to happen. But since the gifts are already placed, there's nothing I can do without cheating. But I'll show you why this doesn't work over here regardless. It has nothing to do with this one per se. Maybe it does a little bit, but some other stuff occurs. Unless I missed something, but let's find out. So far so good. Oh. We have some dancing residentials. We can't afford to have that happen. And so that's... Nah, never mind. Whatever I just saw. Let's pause before something crazy does happen. Okay, so this was fluctuating between two residential highs, R4 and R4, and a top. Now, they both have valid destinations. You know, this rail is found first over one valid destination. This is the only one doing calculation. But when they're separate, then this one has to find the rail over one valid destination. When I demonstrated these two, they were stable. When we check the map over, so you can tell where the donut block is that we played with. And then if you still can't identify what the issue is, you can use the power line. The power line option in the map menu. If it's a rectangle, it's a top. If it's an individual square, like this one right here, then it's just an individual zone. And based off of this one fluctuating, let's check the land value. So it seems pretty normal, but I want you to keep in mind this little piece of darkness right in here is this right here. Well, it still has enough value here, or maybe here, for the other zones. This one just does not provide enough land value. And that is the reason this one is torn between whether or not it should be a top or something else, like a mid and or maybe even a low. And you might be thinking, well, you have rail over here, so you're stabilizing the commercial top. But truth be told, this resident needs to have a valid destination, which it would get with the commercial. But if this needs to be an industry, there's nothing that you can do, since the game tracks in the top left first, and if you're moving the transportation away from this, you have a dead zone. And you can't do that. So this is the reason why you can't play with this amusement park right here. Okay? I hope this makes sense. That is all I have to show. That's all I need to tell in the difference of what I could have done if I would have known that earlier, for lack of better phrasing. But I didn't. But one question for sure: when would you ever implement the residential donuts with the police department, park, police department, and park? My suggestion is you would probably have to deal with those first. It seems for the most part that the police coverage branches out just enough to satisfy this resident and this resident and all the other residentials you see present. So that's not my concern, which is really good because you normally put residential around a gift, and that's going to help with commercial demand and keeping your RCI stable, which is very important throughout the entirety of the build. So I don't think I have anything more to add on the subject, but a friendly reminder is it will only work if you don't have any pollution above approximately the center of the map. Because I'm pretty sure that industry, well, it's nice to have it as a filler and be a really good contributor to population when all else fails. I think that it would do significant damage for the tops that you would be trying to go for, essentially. So if you have a build like this, you can do it. highly recommend it. But if you have industry, you may want to consider trying to remove those industry and replace it with something else. So, on that note, I thank you for watching and listening. This has been a SimCity installment that will go, I guess I could throw this under the 930,000, 940,000, but I would like to at least stabilize the RCI, because as you can see, the RCI is not healthy right now. And I'm surprised I didn't lose it during the entirety of probably 2.5 to 2 hours, 40 minutes of dealing with this residential disaster, if you will. Because that video could have been a lot shorter if I would have just remembered the order of operation. Not the mathematical order of operation, but there is an order on how to get these residentials back while still gaining a new residential top. So I'm going to be quiet. I've said all that needs to be said in terms of SimCity, but thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Thank you for being a part of this build. Thank you for viewing it, liking it, disliking it, doing what you gotta do. You know, I respect it either way. And I hope that you all have a great day and night. Good luck in all you do. Best wishes. Build on, game on. Have fun, take care, stay safe out there, and hopefully when I finish, we'll see if we make it or not. So this is SpicyDog365, going to go silent for the moment. I will turn the music on, and let's try to stabilize the RCI, and we'll call it a video. Thanks again. I appreciate every single one of you sending positive vibes. Spicy Dog, out.